check it out, YouTube. Making bias tape for doing hems, seams on these bags that I'm doing. So this bias tape, you can buy bias tape, single fold, and you've got extra wide double fold bias tape. But what it looks like is this. Okay. I don't know how well you can see that. But basically it's for, what I use it for is I fold it over anything I want to make a finished edge on where I've got two pieces of material coming together and I want a nice clean edge, and then you sew it on that edge. Okay, so for instance, if I have, now this is, I sewed this so the seam's inside, but if I wanted to cover that seam, that's how that would work. Okay. The problem is when I get into this canvas, this nice happy canvas stuff, you can't find this stuff in anything. I've not been able to find it in anything other than, I don't know what this is, says, I'm not sure exactly what it is. Oh, 55 polyester, 45% cotton, which it's okay. But I'm making a heavy duty bag. I want heavy duty edges. I want heavy duty all the way around. So what I found was we got this little sew shop down the street. It's owned by a couple old cougars. There's about 100 sewing machines in there, and there's never anybody in there. I don't know what they're doing. They claim they give sewing lessons, but I've never seen anybody in there. So anyways, I went down there and I was asking about some bias tape for this heavy stuff, and they said, well, just make your own. So they've got these little fixtures made by, looks like clover. Okay. And these fixtures are pretty cool. It comes with a little instruction sheet, as most things do nowadays, like don't eat the Tide Pods, you know, things like that. But this is 18 millimeter, 19 millimeter would be 3/4 of an inch. So it's almost 3/4 of an inch. But 18 millimeter gives you the chart. And for heavy duty material, they tell you how wide to make it. Now I cut this at 40 millimeters, or about 1 3/8. You just cut this on the end of it, a little 45 degree, and you slide it in here like this. It's a little hard to get started, and I've got this a little wider than what it calls for. You take your seam ripper and you pull in here, and that'll pull this down just to get that started till that point gets started right here. You get that point started. Okay. That point, here's that point on a finished piece, right? But you get that point started. I pull it out a little bit and then spread it out a little. And then all you got to do, kind of make sure it's even back here as well. You have to pull it back a little bit. Play with it a little bit. Like I said, I've got this cut a little wider than what's really needed. That's just the way I like to do it. So you pull this out a little bit, and then you just iron it with your steam iron. And then you pull this as you go. And it makes a nice tight fold. And you just iron it as you go along. Make sure that's in the frame there. Okay, so we're going to do this whole piece. Hopefully it comes out as fast and nice as the first one did. Here we go. This way, on your seams, your bias tape is the same material, weight, thickness, and all that as the project you're making. I just recently did those Boy Scout canteen covers with this bias tape, and it was soft and pliable and easy to work with. It went really well. I don't know how this is going to go with this heavy duck canvas, but I don't have to make much of a bend in it, so it should not be too bad. Comes out like so. Careful not to burn yourself there. And I just make sure that seam is ironed in really nice. And then you fold it over. Try to make sure I'm in the frame here. Fold it over like a nice and even like. And you people that sew and have done a lot of sewing, now you probably know all about this, but a lot of you bushcraft guys out there that might be watching this channel that are attempting to make some of your own stuff, or you've got a lot of great ideas and you're having somebody else make it for you. Man, I hope you can pick up some of these little tricks and maybe figure out how to do this for yourself, because I just can't see spending some of the money nowadays on some of the things that are out there. And this stuff's real easy to do. I got that pinned up. We're going to sew it. See how it comes out before I do the other side, in case I got to make changes or do something a little different. The only bad thing about doing it this way is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of this 10-ounce cotton duck to poke through. And that machine will poke through it. The issue is feeding it without getting wonky stitching. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so check it out. That actually turned out pretty good. No issues. I did wind up taking the pins out and just holding this material here into this and feeding it real slow. Now this will get cleaned up when I sew this bag up here like so, and then we turn it inside out. So you'll see that at the end of this, but I just wanted to show you how we make our bias tape and how that works, and why these are really nice to make your own bias tape, because you can use the material you're using.